Good morning, everybody. We're just setting the charts up, getting ready for the New York session open. Give me a second. I had to do a restart. That's why I'm not prepared. I didn't have to. I wanted to, because so everything is super bullish today. I want to see what the advanced decline line looks like. Let me kill the music. I want to see what the advanced decline line looks like this morning when the market opens. I mean, clearly Bitcoin is breaking out here, and it's breaking out in a good way. This is what we want to see. We want to see it break above. We want to see the second day be like an inside consolidation day, and we want to see the third day be an expansion day back up off of the highs. We're seeing that on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ as well. We look over here. You can see that you are like, 10 points away from making a fresh all-time high on the S&Ps. You've already made fresh all-time highs on the NQs. Little bit of expansion here above the all-time high. VWAP under all-time high, but I mean, you're going. Here you got Apple yesterday. It ultimately did bounce from our support. We'll show you that on the regular chart here in a second. Get you back on the big screen. But Microsoft looking good this morning pre-market. Nvidia looking good this morning pre-market. So everything is in a sense looking really good pre-market. We need to see what the advanced decline line is. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be extremely bullish. So if we go look at Apple real fast, intraday, yesterday during the live stream, we were watching the June open down here. I literally said during the stream, if this thing holds support here, this could be a potential good area to look for long opportunities. And it did ultimately, when we ended the stream, traded up almost back up to the open yesterday, but then ultimately sold off back down to the June open. Pre-market, you're above the June open. The trade that we did take on Amazon is still not doing anything. There is the bell. We have this trade open until Friday. We bought an out of the money call, and we're currently trying to scalp alts. So I'm looking at Fartcoin today as we're trading around that June VWAP. We're trading above the daily VWAP, and I want to see if we get some kind of volume influx here that indicates potential pullbacks, or are we looking to scalp a breakout to the upside? Give me a second. Let me pull this up. All right, so we're seeing just a little bit of volume come in. S&P 500 just made a fresh daily high, not an all-time high, just a fresh daily high. This is still just a pullback. This is what you look like on a 5-minute time frame. This is going to be your intraday VWAP, this white line here. Blue line is your June VWAP. June open sitting right here. So you can see this morning pre-market we traded under the June open and then saw a little bit of a rejection. This white line right here is the last 4-hour candle's low down here. But then we closed at 8 a.m. and made a new 4-hour candle. And as you can see, you're currently trading above resistance here and above the previous 4-hour candle's high. So, I mean, structurally, it looks really good for upside continuation today. As the New York session just opened, so the volume looks really good. Depending on what this thing can do above this VWAP, or if it can get above it, that Is that the VWAP? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's not a moving average because it looks like a moving average over there. Yeah, it's the VWAP. So we could potentially take a near term scalp short on that and just use the high of day as a stop loss on Fartcoin for right now, just because it's the open and you're currently, I wouldn't call this a rejection. It's a breakout on high volume. So this could get some steam here. So if you are going to scalp, make sure you're using a very tight stop. Make sure you are risking an amount of money that you can afford to lose, all that good stuff. As that's always, always intended. How's everybody doing on this fantastic Wednesday? We got midweek, so yeah, I mean, the scalp we took yesterday, the scalp short did not work out. After I turned on the live stream, it wasn't very, a couple hours went by, and then it ultimately went up and stopped me out. Which is usually the problem when you're trying to scalp out positions, when you're going against the overall bias, the overall trend. Like yesterday, everything else was bullish. So us trying to scalp out a short yesterday, because we were looking at, I think the only bearish signal that we had on, it was hype coin we were looking at, was literally this indicator down here, your cumulative volume delta. But everything else was bullish across the board. Holy shit. Oh wait, sorry, I was looking at the wrong chart. Nvidia has a big gap up and is expanding to the upside. Your advanced decline line is sub zero, it's negative 300. So even though all the markets are bullish, we're seeing, let's go to the index watch. Pull up the S&P 100 here. Looks like we're seeing a big move down on FedEx. That's pretty much it. It's 40 to 60, so it's not huge as far as your advanced decline line. They're only, like, I don't really have a reason to be looking for shorts on Fartcoin this morning. It's just the June VWAP, right? That's literally it. We got a nice expansion on volume here on the breakout, and then a bearish reaction candle with a nice volume impulse there. It's not really corroborated with the volume delta. It's literally the only reason why we're looking for a short. I generally don't like to buy things at the weekly high, which we're pretty much at. Like, there's your weekly high. Right here's where we are trading. I'm not loving the long up here, especially since we're testing last week's midpoint, and it was a breakdown week. But just like dailies and 4 hour and 8 hours and every time frame candlestick can make a trap, if you will, have where you get a breakdown and then it finds support. I mean, it is the yearly open down there. So this could just be a bullish expansion candle this week, and it could end up closing above the highs of last week. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it's still Wednesday and it's still trading around that VWAP. 2 days we've been trading around this VWAP. So either today, here's the VWAP, here's the weekly, sorry. Either today, right here, there's your weekly high, there's your weekly open, or where we're currently trading. So getting long here, you're literally getting long at the weekly high or close to it. Like, not really a good long trade to take. I own Bitcoin, so I love Bitcoin when it climbs. Bitcoin's been stalling on breakouts. This is a good looking weekly candle, but it's still just an inside week. But it does look good. It looks really, really good. And we are seeing a little bit of weakness on dominance. Strength. Sorry. On dominance today. Whereas yesterday yesterday morning, it was a little bit weaker. Today we had a pullback and now it's back up to the open. So it does look like Bitcoin is stronger than alts today, or trying to get back to being stronger than alts. That's the weekly. Let me go back to the daily and show you what I'm talking about. You see, yesterday we had that pullback, and then today we're pushing right back up to the open of the week. So Bitcoin is strong today. Maybe alts pull back a little bit because of that. Maybe some do, some don't. I'm looking at the ticker on the actual week's platform, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of bearish alts. There's not really anything like screaming at me here for a setup. If you have something that is screaming a setup, let me know. We'll look at it. As the market just opened, so we have plenty of time to look for a setup and a trade. Obviously, I would love to see Amazon get something going today, as we did get a little bit of a bullish impulse yesterday, but it amounted to nothing, as I needed to get above 218 in order to be in the money by Friday. It still can happen, but I'm not loving the fact that everything else is bullish across the board and Amazon is struggling. It's technically, it's not struggling. It is bullish. It's just not really doing anything. Like yesterday, it didn't really do anything. The day before, it didn't do anything. All the action came out of the pre and post markets. And then last night and this morning, we really didn't do anything. We are currently trading under yesterday's high. I do not love that, especially if I'm looking for bullish continuation. But any intraday pullback could be looked at as a bullish pullback. But on the S&P 500, you're well above your expected weekly range high, well above it. So this is where sellers or premium sellers will start selling calls. Right? Once you get above this, and if you get any kind of extension above it, they'll really start to hammer those calls, shorting the calls. It's not something that I love, but it's also good. It's set up good here for a potential breakout run. But we don't often see that. We are seeing that on the NASDAQ, though. It's important to understand that this morning. This is a good looking breach here. And what I want to see to confirm this naturally will be volume. By the close today, I want to see the volume increase, kind of confirm the breakout. And then maybe Amazon will pick up. Look at NVIDIA. We should have got long NVIDIA yesterday. But the difference between yesterday and today is all three of your big tech players are up on the day. All three of them. And Microsoft with a fresh all-time high today. So that's actually good news, or potential good news, for Amazon. Let's just see if it can get anything going. But I'm in it already, so it doesn't really matter. Bitcoin just reaching for the highs of the week. I'm assuming a lot of people are trying to short all these things right now because they see, at the highs, they immediately want to take a short. But that's generally not the way you want to trade stocks, because when they get confirmed breakouts, especially on volume, they can really rip your face off. Look at TMC. It's up nicely today. Hit the $8 mark. Looks like a lot of profit taking going on up there. Here it is. You can see this volume spike at the high of day up around $8. Profit taking is what that is. This thing really did good for us. I mean, we started paying attention, or I started paying attention to this thing back when it was about $3. I brought it to my community's attention at about $4, but it was testing this resistance, so I told them to wait for it to pull back to support. It pulled back, it broke down below support there, but then that ended up being support as the weeks went on. The 21 exponential caught up to it, and it just slowly started to grind higher, which that's definitely what you want to see. We're seeing gold and gold miners pull back a little bit. VIX is under the yearly opening range. I think that's also important to bring up this morning, as you did spike up to that $22 resistance level. Broke above the resistance that we were watching, but yesterday we were under it, and that was a good sign for us as far as being structured bullish. And everything is still very bullish here. Fartcoin is up 5% on the day. This is not a bearish looking candle here. So the short is not advised. It's not really the greatest trade. We had declining volume on these red candles. I don't want to see that. I want to see volume going up as price goes down to confirm aggressive sellers. In order for price to go down, you need to have your market sells hitting the button faster than your limit bids are getting filled. That's what causes prices to shift or aggregate higher and lower. It's aggression on the market orders. With everything else going up except ETH and BOEM, but BOEM's getting ready to switch to green on the day. Big spike there. Bitcoin taking out the high of days. So all the short, I mean, this is just crazy volume here. What is this? That's that monthly VWAP. Yeah, just crazy volume on the highs. Tesla's still getting hit a little bit today. Just a little bit. Let's see if we can. It looks like people are trying to buy at, or there's not really any support here for them to be buying. So they might get ran over today. The people trying to buy support. The only thing you got is this breakout day's midpoint. And as you can see, you're clearly under that. There's nothing on the month there. Not really. I mean, you got a 2-week swing high. It's not a monthly swing. It's a weekly swing only. So actually, there could be support formed here. We'll see. Everything looks very bullish. Very, very bullish today. Everybody should be happy, man. The markets are bullish. Everybody's getting rich again. Can you have a look at Tesla? Yeah, we're currently looking at Tesla. I mean, it's impossible for me to say if this thing is cheap or not, right? The only thing I can do is find technical levels for you to pay attention to, and then it's up to you ultimately to make the decision on whether or not you want to throw risk into the open market. That's literally all I do. That's all anybody does that's a trader. Whole lot of asks being filled down here. Could be stops from people getting long pre-market, using pre-market lows as stop losses, because that's essentially where the volume kicks up there. So clearly the sellers are more active right now. You're much further under your 200s on the 15-minute time frame than I would want to see. So basically, in a sense, as long as you're trading under 340, the threat for today is to the downside on Tesla. That's just today. But you do have this old weekly swing. It's not, I mean, it is a higher time frame level, but it's not like it's, I mean, it is an objective price to watch. The monthly looks good. I think I would be a little bit more concerned about that, though. Like June's open. Let's get rid of May's close. We really don't. I mean, there's already so many lines. So dirty. The chart, it's just so dirty. And then this is old daily res over here. It held on this push up. You opened up here, tested it as support. It held that day, but then you broke down the next day. So clearly there's a grind happening here. So I think the only way I could be a buyer at this weekly swing is if prices fail to go any lower at this point. Because anybody that is looking for an inefficiency gap or anything like that, it's filled. You just filled it. This wick right there. So by coming down and testing that, you've closed any inefficiency. Fartcoin is pushing back up to the daily highs. Yeah, it's going to be hard to look for shorts on these things when everything is just running. We can even go look at Aussie Yen. I mean, this does not scream sell off to me. It says the opposite. It says the opposite. Everything is bullish. We've been bullish the overall marketplace since the S&P 500 hit a weekly oversold level on the RSI. That's when I basically told people to start looking to get back into the markets. That's way back in August. There's your weekly oversold hit. Naturally, the next week opened much lower, but I mean, damn. It only traded under bear market territory for 2 days, and then it was back above bear market territory, and it has not looked back. That was also when Trump said to buy. Like, yeah, we've been bullish since then. I don't see any reason to change that thesis. There is literally no reason in the overall macro space that I can justify being bearish right now. BTC stalled at modified shift pitchfork. Bitcoin has not stalled at anything. What do you mean? It's breaking out right now. What, on a 5-minute time frame? Okay, yeah, maybe it has stalled. But really, man, the market the New York session just got started. Right there is going to mark the 9:30 open. So yeah, maybe as long as you're trading under 107,935, you can be short. I wouldn't be getting short based on a modified pitchfork because those things are very, very much subjective. You got to know what you're doing when you draw those things. So if you're just off a little bit, then it really isn't. Okay, now that we're starting to see a pullback on the S&P 500 back down to intraday VWAP. So we'll see just how strong, if these buyers are here today, if they're going to keep running this thing higher. I would expect them to come in somewhere in this area. There's your two purple dots right there. Now, it was a straight shot down. So we'll see if this carries any momentum. We're not really seeing. I guess Apple is kind of rejecting. You're at mid range, your midpoint, the daily range right this second. Fartcoin rejected a little bit here. It is a lower high. And we do have the point of control playing in right here with the VWAP. So I'm going to take an entry on a retest of 108. Stop above the high of day. So basically just right about in this area here. Stop's going to be just the high of day, or not the high of day, just this high right here. High of day is over here yesterday. Or last night, sorry. Last night it was put in at 2200 hours. So it is making a lower high currently, and we are seeing, let's see if we're seeing an influx in bearish volume. Not really. You're still bullish on the volume. This is not showing us heavy sell side pressure here on volume. Even on the SPX, if I pull that up intraday, oh, it's not going to show me the volume. Okay, it's not showing me the volume. Here's the ES. I'll just leave this up here. You can see there's this blue is the volume spike on the up move. The down move is large, but the volume spike is small. So far, there's 1 minute left on that candle's closure. There's your Bitcoin rejection. I don't know what modified pitchfork you're looking at, but here's Fartcoin's rejection. So 103 or 108 is roughly about the midpoint of this 5 minute candle. Volume isn't really confirming heavy sell side. But the fact that the point of control is lined up here with the monthly VWAP, I can short it. Stop's going to go right above this swing, not this swing. Because this moves fast. Very fast. Let's see if we can get a pullback up into that area. 930 is the open right there. So I don't even want to see a tick above that, above this price. Because if the sellers are in fact hitting this hard and we're just not seeing it yet, then there should be no retest of this level up here. So I'm just looking for a 108.22 retest, roughly right here where my crosshairs are. I can take entry there and risk the high, this swing high, with the VWAP being up there. But it's still more than structured bullish. You understand you could set a fresh low of day today and then turn right around and go up. So when you're looking for shorts when an asset is clearly bullish like this, every day has made a higher high for the last 3 days. This is your daily highs, the top of the box. You can clearly see you've made 3 days of fresh day highs. When you're like this, by getting short, you're literally telling the market, I am shorting you because I know my modified pitchfork's going to work. You're shorting against momentum, against order flow. So you have to be quick to take profits. If you get in, which I am, if you get in on a retest, you have to be quick to take profits. So in this scenario, if Fartcoin was pushing down into this region in here, the 786 of today's range, then I'm jumping out of the trade. I'm going to take profits. I'm in my stop because I know I'm going short against order flow at any one of these bearish prints on a 5-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute, 15-minute candle, whatever candlestick you're looking at, whatever time frame. Time frame doesn't matter. It can reverse in 1 second. You can be looking at a 15-second chart. This could be the near-term lows on Fartcoin. There's no way to see into the future. So you have to be quick to take profits if price does, in fact, move in your direction when you are against the market. But because the markets are bullish doesn't justify us getting long up here either, because it can pull back. There's no reason for me to assume that it's going to pull back, except for the monthly VWAP. If we look at this on a daily time frame, you've broken out above your downtrend. You're getting damn near close to just firing bullish signals. You haven't fired a bullish signal yet on the daily, but look at the 8-hour. Look at this. This is resistance. This candle should have held as resistance right here because momentum is above the 50 line. So this should have held as resistance if the sellers were right. In fact, what happened is you got a fresh daily open during the Asian session last night. This thing spiked, thus saying you shorts are wrong. You're wrong, right? Now you see momentum going away from where the shorts are. So not only are they wrong, they're stuck. This is why it's so important for you to learn just this simple aspect. If momentum is bullish and you're standing in front of that, you are going to get ran over. And the same goes for trying to buy these low wicks. You're standing in the way of momentum. You might get lucky and nail that low, but if you don't get upside continuation, that trade is going to amount to just a very small win. It is better for you to, when you know you are trading on the side of momentum, therefore your trades can last longer. You can stay in a trade for multiple days instead of multiple 5-minute candles. That's when you make your money, real money. But it's not easy to do that because so many people are trying to subjectively analyze the chart. This is why we use the indicators that we use and objective price levels. Like, I'm not shorting at all these levels here. I can get rid of all of them now because price is trading away from it. So literally the only level that I care about, as we're away from that. This is pretty much it. We're trading inside of this 8-hour candle, which is the up expansion on the daily range. So as long as the 786 retracement of today's range is intact and you're not trading under it, then today's low is not being threatened at all. So buyers are just buying their time. Maybe maybe someone's not going to buy Fartcoin until 11 a.m. or at a specific price point. Then they come in and drop $1 billion. That's going to wreck your short. I don't think anybody's buying $1 billion worth of Fartcoin. It's just a chart that I'm looking at. Yeah, start trading with the trend. Stop trying to pick reversals on tops and highs and lows. Literally, the only reason that we're even looking for a scalp here is because there is an objective level here, being the monthly VWAP, the June VWAP. So, in a sense, what I'm saying, and also, there's June's open right here. So, the volume weighted average price is actually above the open. But price isn't trading above the VWAP. So it shows us that in the month of June, The sellers are actually winning still. Until you start to get bullish momentum above this point and above June's open, the sellers are still in control of the asset because June's open is here. So bulls were in control from this point to this point. At this point, the sellers are now in control. So this is the breakdown here. This could just be a retest of the breakdown. You can see that clearly on the weekly chart. So yeah, the yearly trend is up. Here's the 2025 yearly open. So we're up on the year. But, well, currently, right now we're up on the month too, but we're just barely up on the month. But there's last week's impulse leg lower. It's a breakdown below support on a weekly time frame. So if the sellers are going to continue to hammer this lower, they should get involved here, right? This is the only one that I see that is shortable. Bitcoin is exactly the opposite, right? You're trading up near last week's high. So at the very least, you're threatening last week's high right now. Still, this second. So anybody that got short last week and is holding stops above last week's high, they're stuck. They're praying that this turns back over. They're praying that happens. But here's the long-term scenario. Bitcoin's up on the year. Bitcoin's up on the month. And Bitcoin is currently trading above the volume-weighted average price for this month. So as of this second in time, as long as you're above the June open and the monthly VWAP, the buyers are in control of price, not the sellers. The buyers have the momentum. This was a very, very important day yesterday, and it closed up. It also closed up at Monday's high. This is very constructive looking, not bearish. So that's why I use objective price points and momentum oscillator, this momentum oscillator. The moving averages just help people see the long-term trends, because when you're on a daily, weekly, or monthly chart, if you have a random amount of candles pulled up on the chart, then you have a subjective amount of time you're looking at. Because all I have to do is shift this over by one candle, and that completely changes everything. Especially if you're like using, like I see people using your, like the volume that I'm using, the profile that I use. I see people use that on daily time frames on a purely subjective amount of time. Now, if you're using that on the yearly range, okay. Like that's a year-to-date chart right there. So everything you see is all 1 year of price. So if you are using the volume profile on this, then it's not subjective. But if you go like this, those bars on the profile are going to change, and then it becomes purely subjective. Just knowing where you are in time, what's happening for the month, for the year, for the quarter, for the week, for the day, will help you stay on the right side of momentum. And if you can stay on the right side of momentum, this is why we were looking for longs here, because we made a fresh June low. And if we rejected that fresh June low, which we did that day, you did not close below it. So that is a rejection of these lows. This was the low of June. This daily candle, not this day and not that day, this day, that was the low of June. By us trading under it on Sunday, we were verifying that Bitcoin was weak for the month. But if we rejected the lows, then we could see upside move back into the June range. And that's exactly what we saw in one day. This tells you that the buyers were buying all day Sunday, not the sellers, buyers. But this volume bar will be red. It will be red. because that day closed red. But we know because of how it reacted this day that more buying took place in this candle than selling. That is objective, not subjective. By taking this approach, it will seriously help you identify trend and keep you buying when you should be buying and selling when you should be selling. So if we breach June's high, right, which is where? Well, there's June's open there. It needs to be all the way over here. So this is June's high. That's a monthly swing high. This is clearly the target because you're trading above the open and the bulls have the momentum. So if you fib June's high to low, you're going to be well above the midpoint now. I typically like to fib the previous month, especially if the month we're trading in is trading inside of the previous month. If we're trading outside of the previous month, like we're trading above the previous month's highs or trading below the previous month's lows, then I will fib the yearly range. I don't necessarily care about every monthly Fibonacci retracement. It's specific to the month we're trading in, and is that month a trending candle or is it an inside candle? There are 1,000 different words for candlesticks. Maribozu, three black crows, shooting stars, what do you got? Morning stars. Like, there's so many names for candles, and all those names are designed for one purpose. That is to trip up the new retail trader. They will attach a pattern to those random names and then tell you to trade like this when every statistic known to man proves that those trading styles do not make money. But yet retail will go and learn all that crap from your random 18-year-old YouTuber who is not a successful trader and think what he is saying is the gospel, and then they go apply those principles and wipe out their life savings. Yeah, it sucks. Professional traders aren't doing that. Professional traders are trading momentum. They are trend traders unless they are market makers. And if they're market makers, then they operate in the spreads. They don't give a crap about direction. They're not physically stopping you out. Your trade placement is terrible. That's why you are getting stopped out. And your risk management is not good. That is why you're not making money. But trade with the momentum. Right now, the momentum is purely bullish on Bitcoin. On Fartcoin, it is not. It's the opposite. The bulls are indeed trying to reclaim the month of June. They are doing it right this second. Right this second, the bulls are trying to reclaim this monthly range. If I look at this monthly candle, we are not an inside candle anymore. This is a trending candle, correct? I made a video a long time ago telling you about candlesticks and candlestick formations and whatnot. There's only 3 types of candles: a trending candle, an inside candle, or an outside candle. You are a trending candle right now because you did in fact take out last month's low. So if this candle closes the month of June out red, you have a downtrending candle for the month of June going into July. That will be important for July's trades because traders, professionals are going to know going into July at the open, this has been trending lower since last month. Why do I want to buy it? They won't. They will sell it. Okay? But there are other reasons why people buy these things. That's what makes a market. So those traders that say, I don't want to buy Fartcoin because this is a trending monthly candle and it closed out bearish, they can still be wrong. They still won't, it doesn't mean they will make money, but they are now objective in their analysis. They know for a fact that it's a trending candle and last month closed out bearish. So momentum for last month was bearish. I want to see if this month also is bearish. So if it opens up in July and takes off to the downside, sellers are going to attack the hell out of it. But it doesn't mean they'll be right. Fartcoin, whoever runs the company, could say, hey, or the coin, if they come out with some kind of macro bullish thing, that will affect buy side liquidity. And then the technical sellers will be wrong. But in order for me to be a buyer on any asset, I need to see at the very minimum bullish momentum. And by the way that I'm trying to teach you guys how to analyze these charts, the candlesticks themselves, if you can really grab the fundamentals of what I'm talking about, you will have an edge. You will be able to look at a chart and in 5 minutes distinguish whether or not the bulls or bears are in control of momentum. Right now, objectively speaking, the bears are in control of Fartcoin's momentum. But today and yesterday are very, very important days because there's 5 days, 5 days left. I had to look at the calendar. There's 5 days left in this month. And right now, the bears are owning it. They own it. So if the bulls want to basically get other bulls on board, they need this win today. This is why I am shorting Fartcoin. I'm not just randomly shorting it because, there's no reason. No, there's a reason. There's a reason behind my madness. I'm not shorting Bitcoin, right? I'm not looking to short Bitcoin. It's bullish. I could short Ethereum. I could short Bohm. I cannot short Hyper or Hype. This freaking thing is massively bullish this month. But right now I can short Fartcoin because the June open is that important. It's literally going to determine whether or not this candle closes up on the month or down on the month. I know that. So do all the other professionals. Now you're seeing Fartcoin struggle a little bit. Why is that? Because other traders like myself know those objective facts that I just said to you. Now, that does not mean I will make a penny on this trade. It's up to me to manage my risk. It's up to me to make sure I open the position with a perfectly sized position. That way, if I do eat a stop, I'm only going to take 1 to 2% max loss. So that way, the next time I try to scalp one of these things out, my risk was managed on this. But my strategy also tells me over time, I make money. So why would I stop? Okay? Once you can objectively see charts and see them for what they truly are, you don't need to know the macro, because the macro can come out in 1 second. A Fed meeting or a president tweet or a plane crash, or you're always going to have these external factors that are going to control what investors do or do not do when it comes to placing a buy or a sell. Because that is what aggregates price, buying and selling. As of this second in time, the sellers are hitting the market sell button quicker than the limit buy orders can get filled, hence prices aggregating lower. That could change next second, right? So it doesn't matter how good of an analyst I am. I can look back in time and tell you when you should have gotten short and this and that. It doesn't matter how good at it I am of doing that, because I cannot see into the future. Fartcoin could drop some news right now that sends this thing up to $20 a coin. I couldn't imagine what that would be, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I take the same approach into every asset class. I trade stocks, options, futures. I traded everything. I got positions in everything. So I'm really trying to teach you guys how to at least be good analysts. Then you will have one step closer. It will be up to you to manage your risk. But at least if you can objectively look at a chart and see what's going on, then at least then you have a better edge than someone looking at a random shift pitchfork. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, I'm sure there are other people and bots and algos that trade that style. I'm not shitting on the pitchfork. I'm not saying that at all. I just am trying to teach you how to be on the side of momentum, because then your edge will get better. You will see things and you will think, this shit's expensive. I don't want to buy this. I want to short it because it's coming into a trend line. Well, that trend line is subjective. It's not the open of the month, the open of the week, or the open of the day. It's subjective. It might not be the same as everybody else's. Therefore, you might be taking a short here, but everybody else is shorting it up here. Then you're going to be late, probably eat a stop, and then price reverses. And then you'll be like, well, I was right. I was just early. Well, that's wrong in this game. If you're early, you're wrong. If you're late, you're wrong. So try to use more of an objective approach. There's no way I would short Bitcoin right now. Not today. Not this second. Not happening, because I know my edge is gone. I don't have an edge on this. There's no edge. My edge is long. I'm holding it long. Why would I stop doing that? It's literally working. I'm not going to stop doing that. It has been working the last 4 days. Boom, boom, boom. Well, 3 days. This day was a lower high than this day. So this day, and this day, I've been right. Just by knowing where the June low was. That simple. I didn't try to short this. I didn't try to short that. You know what I mean? It's like just knowing that this was the June low, and then watching, giving it time to play out. This thing did exactly what we said we wanted to see it do. And I was saying that while it was breaking down. It was literally trading down here. Now, I was short Fartcoin, so I did make money on that day, but I was literally watching to see if we closed above or below $100,383.94. The exact tick. And it did. So that's a rejection at the lows. If it was going to continue to be bearish, you would have closed down here, not up here. That is objective. That's what we want to do. That's what I want all of you to do, because you can do that. Once you do that fully, I promise you, you're going to be much better at picking places for trades. That's half the battle. Risk management is the other half. Trying to force a short on Bitcoin today is literally gambling. You're above the June open, you're above the year open. You're bullish on the year, you're bullish on the month. You're bullish the last 2 days. You're bullish this week. Like you're bullish across the board this week, this month, this year. Why short it? All right. Now let's go back to Fartcoin and let's just see, do I know what I'm talking about? Little bit. There's the move that we were looking for. How many people do you think were buying this based on the fact that all other markets are bullish today? Yes, all other markets are bullish, but Fartcoin, as long as it's under 1.0734 on this exchange, it is bearish on the month. Why do I want to buy it? Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that sinks in for you guys. I get it almost every time one person is out there and they're like, dude, you have totally changed my thinking and everything. And I love hearing those comments. I really do, because I know there's hope for that person. Now, if they can just get in control of their risk managing factors, they will make it. I am taking profits because this is my profit target. I said that before I even took the short. This is a 786 of today's range. Is still bullish on the day, and it was bullish yesterday and the day before. So buyers can step in here. You also have the 2024 yearly opening range here. Huge objective level. So this is where I am taking profits. All right. If you took the short with me at the price I took it, then you need to take profits right now. Leave a small piece on for downside continuation in the future, but take profits. And then we'll do it again tomorrow. We'll find something else and we'll throw an objective position on it, and maybe we'll win and maybe we won't. Okay? But right now we're not winning on Amazon. We're not. We are not winning that trade. And you know, there's a few reasons why. I mean, this one is not as bullish as the rest of the tech sector for some reason. I don't know why. But it is up on the month. So me getting long is good, because currently, or we have already taken out last month's high. That means this month is a, trending monthly range. It doesn't mean it will continue to trend up. It just means as of right now, it is. So today is a pullback. And as long as you're above June's open, every red daily candle is what? A pullback. Every single one of them. I don't care where on the chart a red candle appears this month. If it's above this price, it is a pullback. And it is hard to find those good areas to buy on those pullbacks, because you can have many pullbacks in a row. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Well, this is where we'll use like weekly opens and stuff like that to try to give us a little bit tighter analysis. So with Amazon, we're up on the week. That's good, because we currently have calls. We're up on the month. Very good. We're down on the year. So the overall narrative on Amazon for 2025 is it is still weak. It is still down on the year. I'm hoping investors will buy it because of that, but who knows, right? So my analysis or my buying this isn't, I'm not really buying yearly momentum. I'm trying to buy weekly momentum because it's up on the month. That's why I only bought a 3-day trade. I'm not expecting this thing to go to $600 by Friday. I just needed to get above 218.28 by Friday close, and the average true range told me that is 100% within reason, as each daily range is moving about $5. So when I took the position yesterday at the open, my target profit, or my close the trade out, was $5 higher. So I had 3 days for it to move $5. It don't have to. It can trade 50 cents today, 50 cents tomorrow, and sub 30 cents the next day. Or it could just go down all week. Well, then I'm going to lose money on that trade. But it was $72. My risk was mitigated. All right. So that's what we got. That's the one we took yesterday, and the other one was on hype wasn't advisable, and I was even saying that it wasn't the greatest setup in the world. We were looking at volume and all that, and when you start putting volume into your analysis, it will screw up your analysis. Get the range down, the analysis, the trend, the momentum, get that down. Then if you want to use other indicators to help you in taking a trade in the direction that it is currently going, then you can use momentum oscillators and things like that to help you, right? It just gives you a little bit more confluence. So typically that's why, like, I'm only looking to buy things if it's bullish, if momentum is on its side. See, with Amazon, momentum is on its side, right? It's above the 50. So there is bullish momentum in the stock currently. So that's why I took the long. It's up on the month, and there's currently bullish momentum on the stock. And I didn't pick a crazy way out of the middle of nowhere target. I took an average true range of the actual sizes of the candlesticks, because that's what the average true range is. It goes back and calculates the last 14 candles size, and then gives you the average of those 14 candles as size. The size of candles is important. It shows us a lot of momentum, a little momentum. It shows us a lot of things, or it shows professionals a lot of things. So hype is pulling back off of daily res here, but it's not super bearish. This doesn't have a yearly open because it just, on this Binance, it just started trading last month. Weeks has it out to January the 23rd, I think, if I'm correct. But still, it's not the yearly open. This would technically be the yearly open on this exchange. But if this has an actual yearly open on another exchange, then that exchange's yearly open is the default. You would go use that instead of this one. You want as close to that price as possible to give you to kind of guide your hand with the analysis. But Fartcoin's working out perfect for us. Loving that. And I'm sure other people thought that this was bullish based on what it's done the last few days. I don't really care what it's done the last few days. Not when I have the line in the sand. So when you see me tweeting things like my line in the sand, it's usually going to be attached to an open of significance, like the monthly. But if it's an intra-week scalp, then it can be the weekly open. This way I can get in, I can get out. And then if Fartcoin does have like significant downside continuation today, then yeah, we'll like it, right? Because I'm not getting out completely. I have an entry position in really close above the June high. My entry is above the June open. Sorry, not the June high. So as long as price trades under that all for the rest of the month, I'm in good shape. So that gives me the ability to no longer sweat that trade. I can now move on and completely forget about it. Right? The only time that matters is if it gets back up into that. But if I'm right and the bears that hit it and they hit it hard, this thing should slowly die over time, or at least for the rest of the month. If I'm wrong and people love the fart coin, I'll get stopped out, but I already paid myself. Good news for Microsoft, bad news for the world. Oh, I didn't hear the Microsoft news. I have my news bot shut down. What's the news? I didn't hear it. I restarted my PC and I forgot to turn on my news bot. Wells Fargo estimates Microsoft's Copilot could bring in $12 billion annually by year-end 2026 with just 10% customer use. Is that the news? That's pretty good news. An additional $12 billion of revenue. That's good. That big money. Greetings, boss. Once I get your notification, I don't miss. This is more than 3 years now. I got you. I appreciate you being here for 3 years. I really do. I think a lot of people I've been doing it for a long time. People come and people go. Hopefully they get what they need and they're able to move on and become a successful trading guy or a successful trading gal or a successful trading panda bear, whatever floats their boat. It's consolidation morning on overall market. I wouldn't say that, man. You made fresh all-time highs on the NASDAQ. You're 10 points away from making fresh all-time highs on the ES. You did take out yesterday's high on the ES, so you technically are a trending candle today, even if you're trading under yesterday's high, which you are. So, yeah, you're not really getting anything going above yesterday's high. So that's about the way I would phrase it. But it is a trending candle. You did take out the high of yesterday. This is why I'm saying at any point today, support could come in, right? At any point today. So up here's the daily. You can't really see it because it's so small on the monitor, but you did take out yesterday's high. But yesterday's high was an expansionary candle. Today's range is very small in comparison. I agree with you 100%. Today, we have made fresh all-time highs on the NQ, but today's range is still rather small. I agree. So I guess we're both right. Yeah, but it is a trending candle. Objectively speaking, you did take out the high. So even if it closes as a bearish candle today, it's still a trending. It took out the high. Yeah. Let me go back over here. And what did you SCHD? Let's go look at a SCHD. All right. I'm going to give you my top-down analysis on this thing. This is Schwab. They're bearish on the year, but it's trading off the lows. So that's always a good sign, because if you look at this on a yearly basis, each candlestick is a year in time. This thing is good to own. It has been a decent buy pretty much at any January 1 since 2011. So if you would have bought it in, say, 2013 on the Monday that opened after New Year's, or on the first day that opened after New Year's, you made a lot of money over the years just holding it. But this year it was struggling there, but everything was, right? At the beginning of the year, January going into February is when we had the bear market. So basically everything struggled at the beginning of the year, but has since recovered most of it, not everything. So it looks good. It still looks bad on the quarter. You're getting ready to open a fresh Q3 stick. This is Q2's stick. So it's actually funny that Schwab didn't suffer in January and February. It started suffering worse in April. I guess it did, because it did trade off the highs. But April is when that big move came into play there. So Q2 still looks rough, but it's trading above the midpoint of this candle. So that is more constructive than not, but it's still bearish on the year. On the month, you are currently testing the open. This is nowhere to get cute. I would not be trying to short this today. And I'll tell you why. You recovered off of the April lows. You made a higher low in May, and there's only 5 days left in this month, and you have made another higher low. So even though it doesn't look great for the last 2 months, who has had the momentum? The bulls. Today they are losing it. So I'm going to assume the dividend news was bad. It doesn't really say. I don't know. Something happened. Some kind of news happened because this was trading sideways and it had a massive gap down, and you're testing June's open. So today's close will be important for traders tomorrow and Friday and next week and so on and so forth. This is the line in the sand for Schwab. So if people want to buy it, this is a good place to do it. However, I would not step in front of this momentum either. This is a very momentous move here. So stepping in front of momentum, even on the near term, can wreck you. So even though it is an area that I would be interested in being a buyer, I want to give this thing maybe a few days to allow that bearish sell side pressure to subside. And then maybe I can talk about buying it, because that'll tell me either A, the sellers have stopped hammering it because it's at the June open, or the sellers are still hammering it, but they are unable to affect the pricing because the bids are soaking up the asks. So we need to give it a few days of patience before we can make a determination on what we want to do with this. All right? So I promise you, just bear with me, be patient, don't step in front of this momentum today. If it closes above the June open, that's good, right? But then you need to wait for a retest of it, depending on where it closes. If it closes back up here at 2650 today, then you're probably not going to get that retest, right? But as of right this second, I could not step in front of this momentum. But I am interested in it. But I want to see if the buyers are too. Because if this continues to just flat out get crushed, then it is not worth buying. Not yet. Let me pull up my Epic pin real quick. Restarted the computer so everything is down. So basically, what we want to see is we want to see something like this, right? Something like that. Then we can say, well, it does look like the buyers are trying to stop the sellers. Volume will tell us what's going on, right? So right now, short sellers are probably still attacking this because it's making a fresh 5-minute low. It's also a fresh low of day. So I don't know if you've ever watched like this, the momentum scalpers on YouTube. They will 100% open up a short if it makes a fresh 5-minute low. That's how they work. That's how they operate. It's called breakdown or breakout trading. You haven't made that low yet. This has thin liquidity. Very thin liquidity. You can't even make a 15-second candle. You see how it's just making these little lines, ... like Morse code, ... dash, ... That's helped me. I need liquidity. Be careful trading stuff like this. You can get wrecked really quick. The reason is because a tick can happen up here or a tick can happen down here. And if your stop loss is setting at 26.24, for instance, and if you get triggered at 26.22, you're broke, you can likely get filled down there instead of being filled where you need to be filled because you're not opening at the same place. There wasn't even any trades that took place in here. None. Zero filled orders. Big fat. Oh, wait. Yeah. 0 here and then 0 there. But you did have 283 on the bid. Just nobody on the ask. 1, 100, 200, 0. Whenever you see order flow like this is literally an algo. And this algo is a market maker. It is making a market. You are trading by yourself with this algo. If you try to buy this, will you get filled? Yeah. But can you get out? That's the question. Getting in is always simple. There's always somebody on the ask. Always. Getting out, on the other hand, is very difficult. I've watched people get wrecked trying to sell 4,000 shares of a penny stock and set in it and have the limit order out there to get filled and try to hit the market order and not get filled for 2 weeks because there's nobody willing to buy those shares from them. There literally are too many people sitting on the ask, nobody on the bid. I do not trade things like this. I need to see at least hundreds of shares on both the bid and the ask. Every single print. Even if it's a 1 second candle. I need to see liquidity. There are very few shares being thrown down here. But this is an algo. You can clearly see what it's doing, right? It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. 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 That's why it's doing that. It's just doing that, basically waiting for liquidity to come through, and then it'll fill it. So you will either get filled at 26.25 or 26.24. So he's probably getting paid a half a cent. Just nobody's trading it. Just be very careful. But it does move because clearly over time it moves higher. So we'll just see what's going on here. Very thinly traded asset. All right, so the ES has found support at intraday VWAP. Here we go. Like I said, be very careful looking to jump into shorts on this because the momentum is clearly bullish. Here is that intraday VWAP. Remember what I said when this candle dropped. I said give it a little bit of time right here. We'll see if buyers step up. They have stepped up. Let's see if they've made money. They have not really made money yet. Because the way that I'm not, obviously, everybody doesn't trade the ES futures the way that I do, but I typically aim for 10 points when I enter a bullish or bearish position on ES futures. I'm looking for 10 points. I'm risking generally 4 to 5, right? So I'm always looking for 10. So if I got filled at 61.52 on a long, I would need 61.62 to exit the position. 61.66 spot 50 is the all-time high. So the all-time high is just out of sight up there. There it is. Right there it is. So I could actually could have gotten long there, but would I have been stopped out? If I would have bought on the bearish momentum, 61.52, yep, I would have got creamed. I would have eaten a stop on the very next 5-minute candle. Right? You don't have to buy, like, if you can time it, like if you've got the patience and the fortuity to sit and wait for this candle to close, that would have been the best fill for this trade. And I've done that a million times in my career, right? I will literally wait for a 5-minute candle to get down to 3, 2, and at 1, hit buy. Bam, it get filled right at the close. And then put the stop 4 to 5 points away from that. That trade would have been safe. And 49, you just need 59 to exit. You just got out. That wick is 59. That would have filled you on a profitable S&P 500 scalp on the futures. This is why I'm like, be patient. You don't have to rush. Like when I set up a level on Bitcoin, for instance, and I tell people I'm looking to buy, I know it's disgusting, but we're more scalpers here. So when we dive down into like the daily range, it's not that disgusting, right? Like this is the daily range here. And I usually very rarely ever look at daily range moving averages. So this is all I'm looking at, right? That's the daily range. That's all I care about. I don't necessarily, like say I was telling people I'm looking to short the 786. I don't mean when price trades up to it instantly. So a lot of people, they will buy or sell. If this is the short, they will sell it instantly. Price can be down here and news can come out and cause a spike all the way up there. As soon as it hits that line for the very first time, they will hit the sell button. Sometimes it's best to wait. Like, give it a minute. 15 minutes or something. Like, you don't have to hit the sell right then and there. At least let the smaller time frame chart even show you whether or not it's stopping there. So this little bit of price action right here would have spooked most impatient traders into jumping into a short. Because they're like, damn it, I missed it. It didn't even get to Trade Talks level, and it's rejecting. I'm going to hit the sell button. Boom. And they get filled right there. And then 5 minutes later, it starts to look like it's going in their direction. 5 minutes later, they ate a stop. But this right here would have been what I would have waited on, that close. But not this close, because the close was too close, right? I want to see it get up into it and then reject. Get up into it. Show me that's a rejection. So I could take an entry on a close or anything at this point. All right, that's perfect. I would sell it there, stop a little bit higher than that wick. Because at this point, if I'm right, with momentum, it should start to trade away. Because it don't take long. Once the majority of the volume has been thrown down, when if you've been trading for any time, you know, literally sometimes when you're right, you're instantly right. Like you'll throw an order in the market and it'll seem like 10 minutes later, you're getting out. Because then you get like two big fat 5-minute rejection candles that look like this. And then it like maybe wicks up and then boom, right? That's what it looks like when you're right, usually. Pretty quickly. So I used to have a rule that if I enter a position and it trades sideways, it starts printing piano keys. Like down, then up, then down, then up, then down, right? If it does that for an hour, I get out. I'm wrong. This is the way I look at it. Because if I'm right, then it shouldn't need to go any further. That would be the price that is in question. And the price should just trade away. But I'm not looking to short Bitcoin. Please do not short Bitcoin. Bitcoin has nothing but bullish momentum today. But if you just give yourself a little bit of patience, this close right here would have been concerning to me. I might have not eaten a stop on this, but the fact that this candle closed higher than this candle, and this candle closed higher than this candle, and this candle closed higher than this candle, is telling me for the last 20 minutes, The market is going the wrong way. Right? It's going the wrong way. I'm short. It's supposed to be doing this, but this way, not this way. So I'm wrong. I'll just go ahead and get out. Just get out. Don't even eat a full stop. If you start closing multiple candles higher than your price point, you could be wrong. And there's a lot of times where you get something like this. That looks more like the type of reaction that I would have wanted to see. And many times I have exited a trade and then it went to work out. That's okay. I would rather do that than chase a loss. I never want to be a chaser and losing those chase trades. I did that too much in the beginning of my career. I used to chase. I was the world's worst for chasing. I would literally get filled on this wick right here. All the way down here. I would hit short right there. Boom. And this happens. And then what made it worse is I wouldn't exit here because I would subvert my own expectations and tell myself, I would gaslight myself into keeping that trade open. Oh, it's going to roll over. Oh, is it? When? I don't know when, but it will. How do you know? I don't. Oh, so you're just lying to yourself. Yes, that's exactly what I was doing. Right? It's not going my way. It's going the opposite way. That's not good. That's typically not good, right? Because if you're short, you're short because you want price to go lower, not higher. Now, obviously, price does do this. It oscillates up and down. It aggregates up and down. But the best short would have been a close up here or here or here, right? Not way down there. And just by doing that, we'll eliminate some stupid losses. Most people are trading cryptos, they're trading with heavy leverage. So if you take a $250 position size on Fartcoin with 20x leverage, if you get short right here and price goes up to there, you just lost $175. That's a pretty significant loss. All right, let me see if there's some questions in here. I've been ranting long enough. If you're just joining us, we did take a short on, or I took a short on Fartcoin, and I shorted it right here on this candles. I did it on this candle with a limit sell. I had it setting at like 108 on my screen, on my exchange. So this wick right there filled me in the short. And then this 786 down here was my profit target. So I did take profits. I am out. I have a small portion left open. So that way, if it continues to run down, I don't know if it will. It's as long as it's under June's open, I want it to. But I expected the sellers would be all over it today. And they were. So far. I don't know if they're going to be strong enough to get continuation, though. Only time will tell. You got a big area of support down here. That's the reason why I was looking for profits there. And that support is holding so far. Tesla getting smoked. Yeah, it did. It pretty much did today on the open. I got 30-minute candles open on that chart, so it got killed for a whole hour. Yeah. So the sellers were right at the open on that. Look where, though. Look where. Like, you got to be seeing that, right? June's open. They hammered it 5 minutes before the market opened. I would not have been a buyer here today on Tesla just for that reason alone. But look how awesome that was. These levels won't always make you money, but what they do is they put you in a position to be able to make money, potentially. it just flat out rejected June's open. So the sellers were here today on Tesla. Yesterday, a lot of people got chopped up trying to short that same level. Chopped up. This happens quite often. Previous day, it didn't even get, it traded up to it and did not reject. Traded right through it. So this is when I want to avoid getting short. However, I would not have shorted it. There's too much momentum there. If it would have opened like here and then did that, maybe. But since it opened way down here, traded straight up to it for the first 20 minutes, no, I'm not jumping in front of that. But this would have been a really good sign. I would have had a bearish bias probably. Also, going into today on Tesla. But it's still good. I mean, they were literally hammering that. We were watching this low to see if the buyer stepped up, and they were not able to do that yet. When you have that much momentum, it takes quite a bit of buying to slow it down. Love this channel. Thank you. Looks like they heard you. Yep, it did. Tesla shares are trading lower. Yep. We did look at Schwab. I think there's something wrong with your comment. I think I said good news for Microsoft, bad news for the world, good news for Microsoft around 20 minutes ago. Well, yeah, I know. And what was bad about it for the world? I didn't even see the news. My news bot is down. It's off. I never opened it. So I didn't see the news. I don't know what the news was. I pulled up the sidebar over here, and the only headline I seen was something about, I can't even remember what it was now. Wells Fargo estimates Copilot could bring in another $12 billion annually by the year end 2026. I don't see how that's bad news for the world and how it's good. I mean, I see how it's good for Microsoft. Maybe I'm reading your comment wrong. You said good news for Microsoft, bad news for the world. Yeah, and I said good news for Microsoft. Yeah. Why is that bad news? That might not even be the news you're talking about. You don't want to lose your crap when fart rips. I will not lose my crap when fart rips. I'll tell you what will happen if fart rips. My smaller position size will be stopped out. I will have already made money. I cannot lose money on that trade. I cannot lose a single dime. I have already made money. That money is already in the bank. That is my money. They will never get that back. Mine. I am very stingy. I am a greedy trader. They will never get that money back. Now, they might get some money back from me tomorrow or the next day, but they'll never get that money back. That be my money. I have impeccable risk management. How can I use VWAP? It's VWAP with an A, but if you go up here to the indicators list, I'm not trying to correct you, and I apologize. I absolutely did just correct you. I'm sorry, but it's volume weighted average price. Go up to indicators and just type VWAP, not a O. I say VWAP, but it's VWAP. Sorry. You can use the anchored VWAP or you can use this VWAP. I don't use either on this platform. If you're on another platform like Thinkorswim or Schwab or some other platform, just type in volume weighted average price and use that. Most platforms have an anchored VWAP. I use the anchored because I anchor it. I only care about VWAP on 2 time frames, the monthly and the day. And I don't care about VWAP on yesterday. Like yesterday's VWAP is of no concern to me today. So every day, what I do is I will anchor the VWAP. So let's go into a random crypto here. So you can see the blue line. This is anchored from June's open. That's the anchored VWAP. And then I have it right here on my shortcuts toolbar. This is the anchored VWAP. So it's not actually an indicator. I mean, it is, but they have it on this platform over here on the left sidebar, the left toolbar. And it is right here. So I just hit that with a star so it's here instead of actually having to pull it from over there. So what I do every day is I just move the VWAP from yesterday over to today's open. So intraday, that would look like this, right? This is yesterday's price. I don't care about the daily VWAP yesterday. I only care about today's VWAP every day. So there's the open. That's how I would anchor it. I just click on it, bring it up to the open with the magnet tool and send it. There it is. So the white tells me that that's today's VWAP. The blue tells me that's June's VWAP. It just lets me know where is price trading in regards to the weighted average of volume. Like the volume that was traded in today's range. If price is under it, that means the sellers have control. If price is above it, that means the buyers have control of the volume currently. That does not mean that they will keep it. All right. So like, I'm sure anybody that was long hype USDT at 9 a.m. did not expect 10 a.m. to blast right down through their open or their entry, because I don't care where they entered in this hourly candle, they probably ate a stop, right? Because more volume came in up here, obviously, or there was an iceberg order setting up here, an order that you cannot see. That's why it's called an iceberg order. You can only see the tip of it. You cannot see the full size of it because it's coming in many times in a second. You got those algos that can sell 200 or 2,000 every half millisecond. Boom, 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 boom. But on the level 2 data, it will only show up as 2,000 one time. That is what... So like that's called auction market theory. So anybody that's trading with the accumulated volume delta or using the footprint candlestick thing, these people that trade with this stuff, that's called auction market theory. It is a form of price action analysis, but they have an edge in the where they can see the icebergs. Because how price reacts. Like for instance here, it's not a really good, I can't show you an iceberg because there isn't one here. So I can't physically show you what an iceberg looks like. But I can tell you, it's like when you have 0 on the ask and you've got like 50,000 or 50K here on the bid. And then 0 on the ask, 50K on the bid. And then price comes up to it and rejects. That literally means that somebody is soaking up all those bids, because in their theory, because it's auction market theory, don't forget the theory, it's all theoretical. They don't have any tools that will tell them this stuff. It's all a theoretical model, and they lose trades too. They're not always right. They can't see what's going on, not 1 second from now. No strategy will hit 100% of the time. But people there are really good traders that use this theory that see the iceberg and instantly sell with the order flow. because they literally watch price get soaked up and unable to go. So that tells them there's an iceberg up there. So if price trades away, because it usually will, and sometimes it'll come back. It'll come back to the iceberg order to continue to fill that price, because the algo is essentially spoofing the order book. It's just continuously hitting the bid. That means there's an ask on the other side of it that you cannot see, that's causing price to reject. So they'll draw a line up there. It's no different than what I do. It is in the sense that I'm drawing based on objective price opens. They're drawing based on their iceberg theory or a support, or like here, for instance, price traded down, it reversed here. So naturally, I'm not saying there's an iceberg here. I'm just saying maybe there was, or if there was, next time price comes back down to it, they'll watch to see if those orders get soaked up again, and they'll get long expecting or anticipating price to go in the opposite direction. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It's their risk management skills is what allows them to become profitable, not their ability to predict price movements, because nobody can predict price movements. Even if it looks like they can, they can't. So like when I took that short today, I told you exactly where. So it does look like I called that reversal, right? Because I said I want to get filled right here. If price trades back up into this price, 108, it did. It wicked up, filled me, and then 10 minutes later rolled over. So it looks like I predicted that. I did not. I did not. I can lie and say here and boast my ego and tell you, oh, I knew that was going to happen. That is a lie. I had no idea that would happen. But with impeccable risk management skills, I was able to sit in it until it did work, or until I ate a stop. That's the magic. There is none. That's the magic. There is no magic. Auction market theory can help you learn order flow, but it isn't going to help you predict where price will go. It will not. It will not help you with that. So it's up to you to become a good price manager, managing your risk, managing your position size. ES getting crushed. ES getting crushed. Boom. So right there, like I said, that entry would have been perfect at the open of that candle, and you did get to be filled on a 10-point move and then instantly. So a lot of people did buy down there, and a lot of people did hit the ask on those shares 10 cents higher, because price traded up 10 cents higher and rolled over. Blah. So now anybody that did not take profits or that got filled higher and didn't get their 10-cent move are now out. And they're going to assume market makers did it. In fact, no, they did not. Just so many professionals in this game are really, really good at what they do, man. And they always take profits like I do. I never set and hope something will happen. You can't do that. That's not how it works. You're either right or wrong. And be okay with being wrong. It's okay. That's why I'm not afraid to come out here and say I lost a trade. Of course I lose trades. Often. All right. So back over here. It does look good. It does look like the sellers jump back on it. But like I said, any news article can come out at some random time. 12:55, news comes out. Fartcoin is the president's new favorite alt. Or Fartcoin has become the U.S. stablecoin currency of the world. course you're going to get stopped out of a short if something like that happens, right? That's why I always take profits. Get it, get in, get out. How can I? Okay, so that's how you can use VWAP. VWAP. It's VWAP, not VWAP. I always say VWAP because I'm making fun of one of my somebody that I used to hang out with, and I just got stuck saying it. And I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying that, and apologies if I did. It's VWAP. How long did it take you to start making? Years upon years. I was a very terrible, I was the kind of person that would beat your head off the window to try to nail into a board, right? I would be the one using my head to do it. I was a very slow learner. If you're a fast learner, if you hate losing money, you can learn fast. It just depends on how forceful you are or how okay you are with losing money. Like, go over to Wall Street Bets and read some of those people's comments. It makes me sick to my stomach how a guy took $200, turned it into $12,500 because he bet the whole wad 6 times in a row and just happened to be right 6 times in a row, and now owes the broker $150,000 because he was wrong the last time. Right? Yeah. That stuff makes me sick to my stomach. 1% out of the top 5% of people make money doing that. They are very lucky. If you are good at managing risk, like if you trade small, lose small, win small, you will lose small. If you go in thinking you're going to hit a home run every time you take a trade, you will blow your account. It's facts. You will blow your account. I've blown many. I blew one with Weeks. The first day I traded on Weeks, when I used to have a link for BitGet. I used to shill for BitGet. And they left the US, so I don't shill for anybody really anymore. There is a link to Weeks if you want to use it, but I'm not shilling it. But when I switched over to Weeks, I blew a $200 account the first day. The first day, I slid that leverage bar up to 200x. Bitcoin moved 10 cents and I got liquidated. So, I mean, you can be a professional trader and still lose all your money if you don't understand risk management. If you're good with money, you can become a very successful investor / trader very, very quickly. If you keep trying to predict market direction and you keep going in heavy with your predictions, you will blow your life savings. People do not want to hear that crap. Well, that's why the channel is small, because I preach it. It's the truth. You have to be consistent in the way that you do this. And over time, you will be consistently profitable. You got to reach consistency first. You cannot become profitable before you become consistent. So it took me many years, many years. I've been retired for about 5, 6, 7 years, like full on. I don't have any other businesses or anything like that. Like, I just chill. I became profitable about 12 years, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while I've been doing this. I've had a YouTube channel for probably 4 or 5 years at this point. It's been a while. I've been sitting in this office every day. So it just depends. Can you save money? Be very frugal with your positions, because the market can go against you always. It's too chaotic. There's too much stuff that can happen intraday. So like, just go in small, use a set position size and go in small. Once you start to be consistent with your entries and your risk, then you will start to see your equity curve. It'll first probably go down, then it'll start to curve and then start climbing. Once you get to that climbing aspect, as long as you don't break your rules, that got you there. You can continue that for the rest of your life. But the day you wake up and say, I'm going to make $1 million today, that's the day you lose everything. Are you trading gold? I trade gold. Absolutely. I trade gold futures and I trade gold options and I trade gold stocks. I trade gold, 2 gold miners. I trade this one. These are the only 2 outside of gold that I trade. AU and then AEM. These are the only 2. These have sufficient liquidity and their options are okay. So I'll trade these. I'll trade GDX occasionally, GLD, and gold futures and options on futures. Yeah, we were looking for gold to pull back at the a few last quarter, actually, the beginning of this quarter. Sorry, Q2. We were looking for gold to have a pullback at the beginning of Q2. It did not. I mean, it kind of did, but not really what we were looking for. So right here is Q2's open. So I'm not even going to lie, right? I was looking for Q2 to open, and then I was looking for gold to go lower, because gold has pulled back consistently at every $1,000 increment back in the past. So once we got up to 3K on gold, I was waiting for Q2 to open to give it time to liquidate all the high sellers and everything that were trying to pick the top of gold. I was waiting for them to have enough time to do that, because it takes time. It takes 3-4 weeks of them just constantly liquidating retail over and over and over again until eventually they run it down. But they didn't do it that time. So I can show you. Here's 2K, Alt H, and then go down to 1K, Alt H. So this is proof that nobody can predict what price will do. Because if I was right, Q2 would have opened and gold would have rejected 3K. See right here, gold went up. This is a weekly chart. So you can imagine the top pickers back then in 08 were trying to short gold at $1,000. It's a big figure. The first week that it got up into it. And you can see it wasn't until the second week, after it liquidated all the previous week's sellers, then it pulled back. Pulled back again here. So once we got up to 2K, we did the same thing. Let me get it over there. Right? We traded up to 2K. Bam. Played around up here for 3 weeks and then started to slowly migrate lower. This is profit taking. This ain't short sellers. Short sellers are not causing this market to roll over. Whoever bought at 1K doubled their money. They're taking profits. That's what caused gold to roll over, and it took several weeks for it to play out. So this year, when we got to 3K, I thought I would be slick in calling a gold profit-taking predicament. And you can clearly see 1 week, it pulled back a little bit. Second week, it liquidated. We were waiting for the April open. Give it plenty of time to liquidate everybody. And then roll over once Q2 opened, because April is the open of Q2. And I said, if sellers are going to hit it and they're going to take profits based on 3,000, that's a 50% profit return from 2K. If they're going to take profits, they'll do it here. They did not. They still have not. The gold is not a short, not yet. It's working on it, but it's just not a short yet. I mean, it's still got way too much bullish momentum in it. I mean, this thing is up significantly from the year open. Here's your year open. I mean, it opened up January and took off. It has not even put in a bearish monthly range yet. That's insane. That is severe bullish Momo. Yeah, after I got stopped out, I basically said, just if it don't roll over, then just leave it alone. Don't continuously try to short this thing, because then you'll be batting your head off the wall like I used to, trying to short something that is clearly bullish, because it always makes you feel like an idiot when you look back and say, man, I shorted that thing at 3K and it's trading at 3,500 today. Why did I do that? Why didn't I just buy it? Right? So yeah, be smart with these things. I can see why I would be expecting a pullback on gold. I mean, 3,500 it almost hit at one point. Like, that swing high is 3,500. So clearly 3,500 might be a good place to watch, but not the first time. If it gets back up to 3,500, don't hit the sell button instantly, because you could blast right through that, and there could be enough piled up liquidity up here to slingshot it all the way up to 3,650 or 3,700 before it actually starts to wane in momentum. But it will be a level to watch. If people are taking profits at 3,500, then it should get up there. Within a couple weeks, it should roll back over again. But until that happens, I'm not shorting gold again. My thesis did not pan out. I wasn't expecting gold to get killed. I was just expecting some people to take profits. And then, since inflation was trending lower, since we're in a rates lowering environment, since the macro is very suitable for risk on, I was looking for people to take profits in gold and rotate that capital into a more risky asset class, such as Bitcoin and the S&P 500, which they did. People are taking profit in Q2, right? Because it stopped going up at 3,500. So people did start rotating capital into Bitcoin and risk markets from gold in April, because that's when we put in the Bitcoin lows. But people are still buying it. Retail is probably still buying it. I'd say some investors, big money, still buying it too. Gold has a huge market cap. It's still floating higher. This is making higher highs and higher lows on the near term, like intra-month. Where is June? Right here. There's June's open. So literally, you have not made a lower. This is your June open, as well as the low of June. That low, that open, is also the low. Very big buying came in June. So this month is making, or did make, higher highs and higher lows. You're just now threatening this low for the very first time. And surprise, surprise, risk broke out to the high side. You got fresh all-time highs on NASDAQ. And we made fresh all-time highs on Bitcoin. Not this month, but we did, last month, May. So your all-time high is also May's high. But, I mean, it's going back that direction. So I do believe people are in the process of rotating capital out of gold. Yes, I do trade gold. I also trade oil futures, oil options. Very seldom do I trade an oil stock. I trade futures, options on futures. I trade everything that moves. If it moves, and I got access to trade it, I will trade it. And I have access to trade just about anything. Not everything. I don't trade NFTs and garbage like that. I mean, who would have thought NFTs would do crappy, right? A digitalized picture that anyone can steal for free. And it's not even stealing. You're just making a copy of it and putting it on your hard drive. Who would have thought those things wouldn't have value in the future? Of course those things failed. It didn't really start failing until people started to actually lose the actual NFT itself. That one guy just got stolen. Paid $150,000 for a stealable picture? Crazy. Yeah, I don't trade stuff like that. Anything that is accessible for me to trade on the multiple platforms that I have access to, I'll trade it. You were making a childish joke. If I sound like I'm giving you hell, I'm not. I promise. Mistyped. I meant there's probably something wrong with your comment comment feed. Since you got you. No, I'm the monitor that has the chat on it is off to my left. My microphone is in front of my face, and the monitor that I'm staring at, that you're staring at, is in front of my face. So if I put you on this monitor over here, I have to then turn around and look at this monitor. I can no longer see the chat, if that makes sense. So sometimes I'm not looking at the chat because I am very famous for going off on 30-minute rants. Why not the weekly VWAP also? Because I'm trading intraday. I do try to position myself. Like, for instance, if an asset has been trending down all month and it's down on the year and I'm looking for a short, I will occasionally look for a short at the weekly open. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if I'm expecting the asset to trade lower all week, I will just short it on Sunday at the open. And then if it gets lucky and it starts, I mean, it has to be excruciatingly bearish for that to work. But there have been many times where you could have bought the weekly open and did good. Like this week, for instance. As you can tag the weekly open, let's go to a different chart, one that's not so filthy. We'll go back to Bitcoin. Make sure I'm on the right chart. I also do that a lot. All right, so we'll just mark the weekly open. There's June's VWAP again, but we'll mark the weekly open with the white line and we'll go intraday back to Sunday. Right here. 1800 hours, there is Sunday's open. So for me, that's 8 p.m. Sunday evening. Bitcoin opens a brand new weekly candle and a brand new daily candle for Monday. It actually opens Sunday at 8 p.m. That's why I get the days mixed up. I say yesterday on a Monday when it's still Monday's candle. Because Bitcoin and Forex both open the daily range the night before for me. But you can see that you only, you traded under the weekly open for 2 hours there at the beginning of the weekly open. For the first 2 hours on Sunday at 9 and 10 p.m., you traded under the weekly open. Had you just waited for this hourly candle to turn green and then hit the buy button, you could have made a little bit of scratch to the upside. Now, naturally, you did get stopped out around noon the next day. But had you been a buyer again here, you would still be making money. Just simply buying the open. Just by simply buying the open, you could have literally caught this entire weekly range because you were on the right side of momentum. So there is no point for me to look where the intra-week volume weighted average price is. You can, I don't have a problem with it. All you would do is just go to the weekly open and tag a VWAP there. Wait a minute. A VWAP. Right there. Boom. Surprise, surprise. Today's VWAP is like perfectly tagging June's. Now, if this price was trading under this blue line all week, naturally this VWAP would be in this area. But I really don't need that data because today's just Wednesday. So by me using the session volume profile, this tool right here, I can see the weekly open, which is Monday, Tuesday, today. So basically all I really don't need to know, because Tuesday's the middle day and Tuesday it didn't do anything. So I know the weekly VWAP is down here somewhere. Does that make sense? So it doesn't necessarily matter to me. I know that I'm looking, if like today we were trading above yesterday's high pretty much all morning. I usually get up. Sometimes I'll get up like real early. If I'm not sleeping good, I'll come to the office at 3 o'clock in the morning. But if I'm sleeping good, I get up about 6:37 a.m. And right here's the 7 a.m. hourly candle. So going into today's trading session, we were already trading at fresh weekly highs. There's no point for me to know where the weekly VWAP is. We're trading at weekly highs. But this is also a reason why I'm not buying Bitcoin today or shorting it. Now, if I would have shorted Bitcoin, if I would have shorted it at 10, I would be in the money. But there was no way for me to know this was going to roll over. There was no way for me to know that Fartcoin was going to roll over. But instead of shorting Bitcoin and all of its bullish momentum, I chose to short Fartcoin instead because it was the only one of the alts that I have on watch right now that was struggling with the monthly open today. That's why I picked that asset to short today. So we can go look at any other asset you want, and I will tell you what I would look to do with it. And when it gets closer to the end of the week, also, I'm not really looking to open short or new positions unless it's a really good trade. Like if it's at a really good level and all other things line up, well then yeah, I will take a shot at it. But most of the time, I only take a couple trades a week. The less I trade, the better I do. I know that with data. So I'm only looking for a 1 to 2 trades, 3 trades a week, every week. My objective every week is to close the week out green. And I know if I take 75 trades, I will not. Whether it's through fees killing me or just me being off all week. 75 trades in 1 week, you are not making money unless you are someone that is like really good at scalping and you're like jumping in, getting a few pennies and jumping out. Like if you're doing something like that, purely scalping momentum, you can take 20 trades in a day. But when I do it, me, myself, and I lose money. Always. It's almost a guaranteed fact. My edge is a sniper edge. I wait for it to come to me, then I hit it. And I either win or I lose. And I don't care about it ever again. Whatever happens, happens. I will either make a few percent or I will lose a few percent and then I will move on. That's all I got to do. All I need is one every week to go into the week higher than I started the week and be green. That is my objective every week in, week out. Go into the end of the week green. So now that I'm up on the Fartcoin trade, which I'm up a lot more on Fartcoin because I've been shorting Fartcoin for weeks now. Like, it's been since 1:30, I've been short Fartcoin right here. So for a couple weeks, we've been hammering this thing. Hammering it. So it's been a good couple weeks. This week changed the short aspect. This week it was very bullish, but still under June's open. That's why. That's the whole reason right there. The June open. So like any asset, I find out where the year open is, find out where the month open is. Next month, I will find out where the July open is, right? I do that every month, month in, month out. The open is my favorite time. That's when I get the most important data. That lets me know. And then whenever it starts to fail at that level or whatever, then any retests or whatnot, I'm looking to hit it. I'm looking to hit it because I want to stay on the side of momentum. See here. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, yeah, I do. It's just way down here. That's the June open there on Hype. I shorted the June open on Fartcoin. So we can get rid of all this stuff. Literally all of it. If we were looking to short the June open today on on Hypecoin, would we have gotten a trade? No. The June open is down there. We're nowhere near it. This was not a scalp for me. It's up on the month. It's got a lot of momentum this month. It's got momentum this week. It is now losing the momentum. So is it possible to say that a lot of these alts are making the top of the week today? It's possible. It is possible. So will Fartcoin and others potentially offer up a sharp opportunity tomorrow? Fartcoin will, potentially, but this, in my opinion, will not, because it is still very much above the level to watch for a short. Now, if I'm shorting it based on a weekly open or something like that, then I can, right? But I'm not looking to take a short on at every single weekly open. There has to be other parameters that line up with a trade. Is it trending up on the year? Is it trending up on the month? So on and so forth. Where's momentum? I always want to be on the side of momentum. Always. It looked like at the beginning of the week, the momentum was clearly on Fartcoin's side. It was up. Clearly. Sunday, it rejected the lows and closed up. And then Monday, you tested the midpoint of Sunday's range. That would have been a decent place to be a buyer for an upside scalp on Monday. I don't know what time that took place. But, I wouldn't have done it because the yearly open is right there. I could have for a target to that, but I didn't. But it had a good day, and then yesterday it was sideways. So today, if you've been following me for any time, you hear me talk about look for a 3-bar pattern. Okay, a 3-bar pattern is this right here. There's up. This is your secondary pullback candle. You would have been looking for longs all day today, looking for that third bar to expand. Third bar right here. That's what you look for on a 3-bar pattern. You would have got killed today looking for that trade only. Right? It would not have worked. You would have been the exit liquidity today. Now we know that because a couple hours have went by. We got positioned at the right time, at the right level, and we're good. We're getting downside continuation. We just bounced off of the low of day. My short ain't the high of day. It's right here. So my target isn't unfounded. It's within the range. But if this continues to trade much lower for the rest of the week and say next week or whatever, being short up here will look really good. But this month is almost over. So sometimes I'll try to position myself at the beginning of the quarter for a trade that could last a full quarter to the upside or to the downside. But macro fundamentals and technicals need to line up for that position. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I've nailed some really big, really long-term trades. I got all of Q4 on Euro and all of Q1 on Euro. Q4 2024, I nailed every bit of it to the downside and all of the upside in Q1, almost. Nailed both of those trades on 3 attempts. The first attempt I tried the short, I got stopped out. I tried it a week later. I nailed it. And I was in that short for all quarter long. Boom. And it just went straight down. It just, the technicals lined up. Everything lined up perfectly. That's what I love to do. That's when you make your good money. But I don't stay in it with a full-size position. I always take profits on the initial entry. Always. Pay myself for the risk. That way, if price reverses and stops me out, then at least I still made money on that risk. I never want to lose a full-size position after being in profits for 10 days. That would be so heart-wrenching. You're sitting in a full-size trade completely levered up for 10 days while it went in your direction, and the last 2 days it came all the way back down and got you. Those will literally break your heart. Well, by taking profits, you eliminate that. It's that simple. Eliminate that. And then you don't care what happens. Every day is a new opportunity. Your VWAP is lower than yours. It's because of the trading platform. I'm using TradingView for analysis. Yeah, it is. Yep. Okay, well, wait. I'm using TradingView. Which time frame are you talking about? Daily? And what asset? And I'll check it. If you do it at the daily open, it should start at the middle of the candle pretty much, wherever that is. Like the daily open, attach it to the daily open. If you're doing the June VWAP, then go to June's open, June 1. If you look down here at the bottom of my screen, you'll see it says Sunday, the 1st of June. Just tag it to that open. And it should be exactly right here. Roughly about 109.70. But the daily VWAP should always be the same. I tagged it to the daily open today, and I'll go inside the day range, which is here. There's the open. VWAP went up. Now it's coming down. So now my intraday VWAP is 1.0684. So, yeah. It was more, to be honest with you, the scalp short was more or less due to the June open. The VWAP was just a secondary point of confluence that basically told me when I looked at the monitors this morning, like when I came to as soon as I looked at it, right here, let's go back 6 o'clock. Right here's the data I had at 6 a.m. I instantly knew I wanted to look for a short. And the reason is simple. Last night, it had a lot of bullish momentum, But since that was during the Asian session, since the London session, which is at 3 a.m., 2 to 3 a.m. for me, it has failed to get and stay above the monthly VWAP. And since the monthly open is right here, and at 6 a.m. we're trading under it, then that makes me know that if price rotates back higher for the New York session, as long as it doesn't show a huge explosion above this and continuation, then I want to short it. And we can play it out. There is 7 a.m. 7 a.m. it opened down here and spent the whole hour trading higher. But instead of shorting it here, I want to wait until 9:30. That's when the New York session volume is highest. 9:30, because you're getting a New York Stock Exchange volume also. All of the volume that's going to take place at the New York session is going to happen between 8 and 11 a.m. But 9:30 is when you get the majority of it. Like, that's when it peaks. 9:30, the volume peaked. So for this, let's go back one more bar and go intraday even smaller. Right? 5 minute. So I just don't want to see upside. I don't want to see an upside explosion like this. And then I don't want to see it trade down to it and just trade back away from it like that. Because then my short thesis for this area is not good. So let's see what it did. Okay, here we are. 9:20, 9:30, or 25. Let's get rid of these. 9:25, 9:30. Boom. So it's doing exactly, this is when the New York session open happened. 9:30. So I'll mark that. 9:30. That tells me that 5 minute candle is when the New York session opened. Did we get this and then did it start to go? Because it will, right? If it's going to be bullish today, you're above the monthly open, you're above the VWAP at this point. With the New York volume and it being Wednesday, if it's going to be an up day, you should see candlesticks start to explode higher. It's the most volume. It's the last opening session of the day for the daily range, the entire range. This is going to be the very last chunk of big volume unless there's a Fed meeting at 2. And that's not happening today. So this is what happened right here. All right. So now it's going to go if it's going to be bullish. So I don't necessarily want to step into it yet. Boom. Right there. Can it still go up? Yeah, it can. But I can now take a chance at it at 108. Boom. That was my fill right there. So if I'm right, with this point, this much data, with everything that I know, if I'm right, it should now at least slowly start to roll over. What I know I don't want to see is this and this. I don't want to see these two candles. I want to see it migrate lower, aggregate lower. Tell me that, okay, it can't even get up to 9:30's open. This is when the majority of the volume happened, 9:30. That's when you got the biggest volume of the day. 9:45 gave you the biggest volume of the day. To be fair, that's even better. Here's the open. It was a smaller volume bar than what you got 5 minutes prior to the open. And then this is your biggest volume spike yet. And it could not even get back to the freaking open. That's good because I'm short now. This candle filled me on my short. So now I want to slowly see that rotate lower. And dump. On what? Higher volume. So at this point right here in time, at 10:10 a.m., we were live. I pretty much had a good idea that I was on the right side of the market. Pretty good idea at this point. Because we got the breakdown below June's open on higher volume. Not the highest volume of the day, but higher volume than we had for, let's say, the last 4 candles in a row. And we're already, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 5-minute candles past the open. We're almost a full hour after the open. At this point in time, if I'm right, we should start to really see it go. Now, if I'm wrong at this time, because it still can always, with every new candle open, it can always give you a candle that looks like that. Always. I cannot see into the future. But that just basically told me that I'm probably, because I've been doing this a long time, right? It's just experience at this point when I pretty much had a good idea that I was going to be right. Boom. That's my profit target. The 786. We went over it before I ever even threw the order out to get short. And the reason was simple. Because the buying volume and the momentum have been bullish all week long. There's a good chance that buyers step up and look at this volume. Where? Right here. You got 2024's open down there. That's a huge level. Huge level. So any trader out there in the world that thinks it's going to bounce from here are going to get long. This level by itself will bring volume in. It will bring buy volume in. Just for what it is, the 2024 yearly opening range. That'll essentially cause people to make a trading decision. So right there, there's no doubt. Look at the size of this volume. Now that's bigger than the volume at the open. Here's the open. And you got bigger volume coming in down here. So at this point, I'm taking profits. Like, I'm getting out. This can 100% at this point start to do this. Abso-freaking-lutely. Look at that. That's huge volume. So I want to take profits. It hit my target. I'm getting out. My stop is lowered to better than break even. So if it does go up for the rest of the day, I'm out. I got paid. I cannot lose money. Cannot. No matter what happens, I cannot lose money. That's where you always want to be in this game. In a position where you can no longer lose a single penny. Because this can happen. Right here. Boom. We're making fresh daily lows. Yeah. See what I'm saying? So now everybody that did come in here to try to buy this at the yearly open, they clearly know that they're wrong. But they're still trying because you still have increased volume here. So this might roll back over to the upside today. I'm not saying that this is going to be killed the rest of the day. You just liquidated the low of day. Right there was your low of day. And that happened at 2000 hours last night. That was your low of day all day long until this candle. That candle right there, your 11:20 candle made a fresh daily low. So notice how much time has went by here. Nothing has happened. It's printing piano keys at the daily low. Buyers are trying to buy this. They still think it's going up, and they might be right. I have no clue where it's going to go. I was only looking for this momentum here. That's it. I don't care about this stuff down here. I don't care. And I don't care if it comes all the way back up there. Don't care. Do whatever you want to do, market. I'm golden. I'm done for the day. And I try to repeat that process at least a couple times a week, every week. Right? That's all I'm doing. So the whole premise, the plot of this trade, I can write it out for you. That's what I was anticipating. This line was the reason why this trade was even able to happen. We're not trading too far away from the June open for it to get right back down there, especially knowing the low of day is here. That's a pretty good sized target. But I don't know that it's going to make a fresh low of day because I know buyers could step up right here at the 786 of the daily range because of the inner circle trader. Right? Thanks to him, I know that there's a million retail traders out there that are buying this level. Thanks to him. Thanks to the inner circle trader, his people that follow his methodologies was my exit liquidity. Thank you, inner circle trader. Now I have to teach them the right way. I'm only joking, guys. I'm only making fun of him. He can afford me to make fun of him. He's a huge channel. Dude's got hundreds of millions of followers. But you get what I'm saying, right? That's what I was expecting to happen based on the fact that the Bears had momentum of the asset. They just could, even though the Bulls had the momentum at the beginning of the week, it wasn't until last night and the day prior that this level even came back into play. Look what happened when it got up here yesterday. This ain't because it's an order block. It ain't because it's a whatever fantastic word I want to make up and put here. No, it's the objective June open. It will always be this price. Every single day for the rest of my life, June 2025's open on Fartcoin will always be one spot 0734. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's so simple, but damn does it work. Look, the buyers could not get what Bitcoin got. Look at what Bitcoin got. This is called bullish continuation. Look at June's open on Bitcoin. So same premise, except when Bitcoin did it did it Monday. Same premise. When Bitcoin starts to trade up into the June open, am I wanting to sell that? No. Why not? Because it's 1,700 hours, dude. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a trade at 9:30 to 10 o'clock. We're nowhere near the June open at that time. It's not a trade. But it blasts through it, and then it trades sideways, up, then back down, bing. That's close enough to call that a retest. Right there, retest. What happens? Does it go down, go back up, reject, and go down? Absolutely not. It goes up, trades sideways, up, fresh hive day, down, down, sideways, sideways. Where's June's open? Down here. Where's price? Up here. Where's 9:30? Way up here. Am I wanting to short it? No way. That's bullish continuation. It's trading up and away from the level. I don't want to short that. That has bullish momentum. This had the opposite. This rejected twice yesterday. It traded above it last night for a couple hours, but then the London session happened. Right here. London session. That's the second time of the day where the most volume trades. You get 3 opens every day. Asian session is the first open. It's the first session every day, every range, every day. Forex crypto. The Asian session is the first chunk of volume. Then at 3 o'clock or the London session, you get the second chunk of volume. And then 9:30, you get the last chunk of volume. So that's what you were basically trading up and down and through and just sideways AF around the yearly open or the monthly open. So as long as the London session opens, the New York session opens and it's not going higher, then it's a shortable. It's short. It's a shortable asset for me. It's that simple. It's just simple. Simple. Not many people trades like this, not on YouTube anyways, but they should. I don't know why. I don't know why people make trading so difficult. What is up, Ethan Trade Talkers? What's up, Aaron? How you doing, buddy? If Tom is still here, I watched that movie he told me to watch in the Discord. I was not happy with it. It just, I don't know. I feel sorry for them soldiers and everything that went through that. Obviously, my prayers go out to them, but dude, it took like all movie long to get started, and then the next half of the movie was nothing but a guy screaming in pain for like a whole hour. I had to turn the volume down. It was making me cry almost. Thanks for the explanation. Can we take a look at coin if you have time? Yeah, I have time, man. My days, I'm done pretty much. We're going to wrap it up. But if you have an asset and you want to know what I think about it, then drop it in the chat because we are getting ready to wrap it up. The trading session went away. The rest of the day will just it'll play out in the direction it's going, or you might get a reversal at this point in time. I wouldn't trade for a reversal for any of these assets, but you could get a reversal after lunch on some of the assets that are bullish, like S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Even though they came off and are trading under the VWAP, both of them are still green on the day. The futures candle is still green. It's still up on the day. Might not be like that at the close, but as of right now, it is. So coin is naturally trading at yearly highs. You took out last year's high. You're trading at last year's high right now, today. All right? That's bullish. It is objectively bullish on the year. What are we doing in June? June looks really, really good. June is a massive expansion candle. June also opened under the yearly opening range, which is fantastic for anybody that thought that it was a good price to be a buyer, because it was. They're up. If they bought the June open on the day that June open happened, they're up nicely. Now, the expansion came, funnily enough, the last 4 or 5 days. Literally. So if you bought the open of June, you sat in a very sideways, boring asset. You didn't really start to see expansion until Wednesday of last week, when that was the Fed meeting, wasn't it? I believe it was. There's an explosion of volume here. Wait. No, I think something else happened. Let me see. I think, was that the Fed meeting? When was June FOMC meeting? 17. This is 17-18. This was the FOMC meeting. Something else came out though. A big news item came out that no one really talked about. Brandon from Crypto Trades and Tech popped into the Discord and told me about it. That's the only reason I know about it. I didn't see anything on it, but I'll take a screenshot of it right here. He 100% dropped this on the 20. Wait, no, that's not the right thing. When was it? He came out and said something happened today that no one spoke about. I can't find it, but I know he did. He came out and said it, and then I looked it up, and he wasn't joking. Well, anyway, basically, the same day the news came out on that, it also crushed Visa because Coin is literally acting or going to be able to in the future take business away from Visa and MasterCard. So Wednesday, June 18, the news kid came out on 17, but the same day as the Fed. This ain't because of the Fed. That big news dropped the same day. Let's make sure, though. Yeah, I mean, I guess it dropped, and then you had a big sell-off here. So Coinbase is the reason for the Visa and MasterCard sell-off. That news that came out the same day that no one talked about. Look at that. Blah. That could literally help Coinbase in a big way for a long time. Now, with that being said, that's the macro fundamentals on Coin. That's why Coin traded sideways for so long this month. Like, it didn't do anything all month long. This was a breakdown. See, on your first day breakdowns, guys, be very careful with that, please. Please do not let that bear you up. You've heard me say it 1,000,000 times. Traps exist. They do, man. They exist. And usually they happen right when you're least expecting it to happen. Here's support. There's the breakdown. It took out all the support in June and a little bit of support that was made in May. There's a breakdown, a close under. Next day, it was up. Then really up. That's a trap. Right there. That is a trap. So when you see a fresh breakdown of support, give it a day or two after. Because you could have been a buyer at the open of the New York session, at the NYSE open on Monday, because it was gapping at or above Thursday's breakdown candle's opening price. You were gapping higher than that. You knew anybody that shorted this day was stuck. At the open, they were stuck. You got a little bit of a retest into that, and then right there, that's the support. That's where the buyers kicked in overdrive. They knew everybody in this daily range was short. They were stuck, and then bids just creamed those shorts. You got one day of a pullback retest, yearly open range, trap, and then news. Boom. Looks good. It looks really good now. So everybody was really stuck in this entire range. Really bad stuck. This is also a reason why Bitcoin's going up too, because it's just a sympathy play from Coinbase. That was really big news. It looks really good, but you're not going to like what I've got to say. There's nothing to do here until next month. Literally. There is nothing else you can do here because today you took out last month's high. This is May's high. You took out May's high and you are seeing profit taking today. So I would not be a buyer today. I would love to see a deeper correction. I don't know that you're going to get a deeper correction. So wait until July, which will be a Tuesday. July, Tuesday the 1st. Let's see what happens then. Maybe the first 2 or 3 days in July, you get a day or 3 days of lower push. And then maybe it builds a support in or around a $300, $320 area. In that scenario, I could then be a potential buyer on Coin. Right? So wait, just give it time. You're going to have an opportunity to buy this again. Now, I don't know. Obviously, it could retest yesterday's close and just go straight up higher, but the odds of that happening, you've already exhausted the entire range of last month. Oh, that's not May's high. That's December's high. What the hell was I looking at? Oh, damn. That's May's high. Yeah, this is a break. This is almost a full-on breakout. Wow. Okay, so never mind. I take that back. That's December's high. It's not May's high. That's D's high. So yeah, I mean, nobody that bought in June was looking for that kind of a move, man. That is a very explosive, extended, look at this volume down here move. No, you don't want to buy it now. You missed out on all that. If you're in it much lower, then you're doing good. Just hold it. But like if you're looking for new trades, new opening positions, you got to give it a little bit of time. You got to give it time to digest this big explosive move. Here's the thing. I mean, it just depends on how good that news is, if it will continue pricing higher or not. If investors continuously think that, like, every day they start to realize, like, they're doing paperwork and whatnot at the office right now, digging into this, seeing about what they think it could do for the company, then they will still buy it. Because we know one thing about these markets: an overpriced market is not anything that is real. Just look at when Nvidia took off to the upside. Look at when Tesla broke out. Like, you haven't even broken out to all-time highs yet. I mean, technically, this could continue to go. I'm just saying there's not really an opportunity. Not one that I can give you. Not until July opens and we pull back a little bit. Because you already got an explosive amount of momentum that's already happened. So, in a sense, like, I would have never expected that size of a move. I bet you if you pull up here, let's pull it up. Yeah, look at this explosion. Crazy. 1792 is the average move per day now. But before it took off, $12 was the average. Right? That was the average of the last 14 candles. This is the average true range. It exploded to the upside. You can't really get involved in this. When that happens, it's too late. It's nice to get into these things before it happens. I get it. Put an RSI on your thing. This is what I look at. This is a buying opportunity for me. The 50 on the RSI or the 21 exponential. Like, when we start testing those things, this is when I really start to like it for a buy in the upward direction, for upside continuation. So, like, a lot of people were shorting this because the first time you retest the yearly opening range, as long as it's not super strong going into it, or if you get a rejection, a lot of people will short that on the first initial retest. And I do too occasionally. But after many days of it not working, those shorts dried up, ultimately. So at this point, this is when the algos start to fire back up. Right in here, and especially here. Like, this is a beautiful, when your daily RSI is retesting the 50, that's usually a pretty good indication that you need to, at the very minimum, put it on watch. Absolutely put it on watch. Because I wouldn't have been a buyer while the trap was happening, but I damn sure could have been a buyer on Monday. Based on where the 21 exponential was, based on the reaction we got here, based on everybody being stuck from that trap, I would have been a buyer in here on that day or this day. That yearly open would have probably stopped me from buying it on this day, but yeah, if I'd have seen a lot of momentum happen intraday right here, I could have 100% jumped in for a scalp. Absolutely. I mean, look at this take off. Look how this plays out here. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Oops. Control Z, bring that back. Just close it. I don't want to delete it. All right, here we go. Let's look at how this plays out. So going into this day, we don't necessarily want to get long and ahead of that. That would be profit target. If we got long down here, I would be scalping out profits there. For sure. Long any point here, take profits here, and move stops to break even. Or, I mean, there's no way to know news is going to come out, right? But this would have been on the watch list all day had I seen it this day. I didn't even pay attention to it. And I didn't have the scanner up, or I would have been alerted to this. But as soon as I seen this happen at 11:25 in the morning, are you kidding me? Look at that freaking volume. Look, this is the session open. Volume is supposed to be declining at this time, not exploding. Yeah, I would have jumped in on a scalp for sure. You're above the yearly open. You're breaking out. Everybody that sold back here is stuck. They were super stuck. Yeah, that would have been a fantastic scalping play there. There's no way to know it would have continued, but if you could have just been a buyer at the yearly opening range at 11:10 because it's now closing fresh session high 5-minute candle right here. This candle came out and it made a higher close than this. This is your highest closing candle right here, all session long. Right here's a higher close. You could have literally bought the close of that candle. Next candle would have verified your position on volume as it closed higher, and you got an impulse leg in volume. Second candle, as long as you're not trading under the low of your entry candle, you're safe. You're not. Another extension and impulse and volume. You would have stayed in that position and caught that. At least this candle. You probably would have been panic selling, though. That would have been huge. Hit the auto button. Look at this. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Like, come on, man. Yeah, that would have definitely been in play. I bet this started blowing up on scanners, too, because of that volume. Anybody that's looking at normal than or higher than normal average volume, this asset would have started blowing up scanners. Coinbase, Coinbase, Coinbase. And then that causes more momentum buyers to start hammering every 1 minute higher high. Literally, all day. They were trading that based on momentum only. That scanner. I don't like to trade like that. I need an objective level and then I can jump on some momentum, but this would have blown up scanners. This would have for sure blown up scanners that day. It looks good, but unfortunately you missed the move. And I think you might be thinking of the stablecoin legislation. Yeah, that's it. That's the news. Yeah, it killed MasterCard and Visa. And all those Momo traders came rushing into this that day. I don't follow a lot of traders on YouTube or anything, but I wouldn't doubt there's some videos on YouTube people talking about this setup. They won't probably mention the yearly open, but they will definitely mention the volume increase, the expansions, like just the news and all that. This would have been one where I could have been a higher day buyer. Even though it was making fresh daily highs, with that kind of volume increase, I would have absolutely been participating in that. I don't really run scanners. I'm usually done by this time every day. because most of the time I'm looking to scalp momentum off the open. I don't trade all day, and I don't watch the news bot or volume scanners all day long. Some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't, like I said, the more I trade, the worse I do. So knowing that I have an edge and I stick to that edge, and yeah, if I'm having a really good week, maybe then if I'm just bored, I'll throw some scanners up, but very seldom do I do that. But a lot of people made a lot of money on coin that day. It would have been fun to be trading that. Used to, people in the Discord would let me know also, hey, this is blowing up on the scanners, but nobody does anymore. So I don't think my community does that kind of trading. But yeah, anything else? Anything else? I mean, Bitcoin, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it doesn't start like yesterday's low, as long as that yesterday's low remains intact, I will continue to have a bullish bias on Bitcoin. We broke out above weekly resistance right here. That's just your standard weekly res. Nothing big, nothing important, but we broke out, and it broke out pretty good. Yesterday, not so good. Today, by the time this volume bar is done, it should be at least as big as yesterday's. It will be bigger if intraday support is found on Bitcoin. What do we see going on Bitcoin? Intraday. It's finding support at the intraday VWAP for now. For now. So people are trying to run Bitcoin higher. This volume increase on the lower lows, that's not all sell side, but it could be. So this buying volume I don't love because it's much lower, but still they could have already did it. They could have already hit the bid once it got down the VWAP. So I don't trade this time or later, because I know that this can trade sideways and janky for the rest of the day. It could roll over, it could slowly migrate higher, or it could just trade sideways for the rest of the day. The huge edge is over, in my opinion. You got an increase in volume as prices going lower. So sellers will try to hit Bitcoin in the second half of the day. I just don't know that they're right. I just can't know that they're right. Let's see if this is even bouncing at the zero line. So if it's above zero line, it's technically bullish. And then the last thing would be your moving averages. Yeah, you're well above the 200. So there's no way I could buy it all the way up here. No way. Because this thing could come back down here and test this. Now, if Bitcoin comes back down here and starts to test this weekly res in June's VWAP, which is in blue, tomorrow, then we might be able to be a long scalper on Bitcoin tomorrow. As long as my computer ain't wigging out and my internet is good tomorrow, I'll go live again. I don't care to go live every day at the New York Session Open. It doesn't bother me. I can do it every day. I just usually don't because, I don't know. I mean, I like to be able to focus on everything else, but I don't have any problems doing it. But maybe we'll go live again tomorrow. If you don't see me, it's because something's wrong with the internet or the computer. But usually it does good. So I don't have any problems going live anymore, which is weird. So maybe we should just start going live more often. I'm pretty much done for today. So if you got an asset you want me to look at it, give it to me. We're going to wrap this session up. There's nothing more for me to do. Where is Amazon real quick? Did we get any kind? No. This looks like, I mean, if it doesn't start to get some kind of sympathy going for a bullish tech market, then this trade's going to close in the red. We still got 2 days on it, but the problem with such quick early expiring options is those things really start to lose money quick. Thursdays and Fridays. Those options, the premium, you can literally watch it just get sucked out every 5-minute candle that prints. That premium just goes down and down. If it don't really start getting something going today, Amazon, I would say we're probably going to lose the entire premium on that, because it needs to be up here. It's got to be in the money in order for it to slow down the theta decay. If it's not in the money, theta decay is brutal. But it was within the parameters of risk. It was a $72 trade per contract. And that's not a crazy target. $5 away is very easily achieved. Right? It's just not when it's going the wrong way. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.